Education is the fundamental right of every individual. The right to education also includes a responsibility to provide basic education at the primary and secondary levels. According to UNICEF, 1 in every 5 out-of-school children is in Nigeria. Even though basic education should be free and every child has the right to access this, about 10.5 million Nigerian children between 5 and 14 years are not in school.
Innovation has driven enormous advancement in certain fields, like in banking and finance, in ICT, manufacturing sector, even in the entertainment sector. If you look back 20, 30 years ago, you will realize that much progress has been made in these sectors. Sadly, the same progress is not reflected in the education sector in Nigeria, and we could ask ourselves, why is that?
The Universal Basic Education Fund was created to ensure free access to basic education and to improve the learning environment in the country. However, its inadequacies and challenges in implementation have necessitated the emergence of other educational development stakeholders to fill in gaps in improvement of learning conditions and driving educational reform.
At EduTrust, we realize that the government alone at the federal and state levels cannot meet the huge need in the education sector. To meet the need would entail various stakeholders acting together. We focus on delivering educational resources and tools that are affordable, accessible, and usable for all Nigerians.
Learning in the 21st century has become much broader than the subject-focused classroom curriculum based on the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic.
We realize that most of the intervention projects for the education sector in Nigeria, they lay more emphasis on the student's perspective. What quality of teachers and tutors, educators do we have? Are they enough to meet the required standard for the 21st century child?
The informal education sector in Nigeria has also grown in recent times, as human capacity development and entrepreneurship have become a major focus for empowerment and job creation by both the government and the private sector.
At EduTrust, we realize that the link between people and substantial livelihood is education. Through this, we have been able to readdress the bulge in unemployed school leavers and restive youth in Nigeria through job creation, entrepreneurship, and innovative use of our local resources.
We realize that to attain accelerated development, particularly on Sustainable Development Goals 4 and 8, would involve these stakeholders doing different things and doing things differently. This is why at EduTrust we are driven by innovation, and our efforts are driven towards supplementing the efforts of the government and not to supplant the efforts of the government.
What new methods and tools are being employed for teaching and learning in our schools to bring a new wave of graduates who can meet the demands of the workplace of the 21st century?
If you look at the curriculum of schools in Nigeria today, you will realize that the way curriculum is designed and the way teaching is delivered leaves over 50 million school children in Nigeria deprived in one way or another.
The young population, they spend a lot of time on social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter. So we take advantage of this opportunity and plug into the educational sector and provide learning and teaching materials that are best suited for this medium. So this way, what they should learn is disseminated, so they get these materials while they surf the net.
We are committed to expanding access to education in Nigeria by reaching students, communities, and populations underserved and unserved by the formal school sector.
The kind of educational needs people have in different parts of the countries vary. What they might need in Enugu might not be the same thing with Zamfara State, for example. So we recognize this and we apply this when we're planning projects for educational reforms in the country.